So I wrote this book. It's called A Kind of Magic, and it's a love story. I mean, it's not a love story at all. It's a story about having a panic attack at the supermarket every single time you go there. And it's a story about being a pregnant teenager, getting divorced when you're 24. It's a story about psychosis. It's a story about when your brain disconnects from reality around you. And it's a story about having a nervous breakdown in the Formula One pits at Albert Park. But fundamentally, it's a love story. I started writing this book as part of my PhD research. I was looking at the way that brains are different when they have mental illness, the shape of memory when it's affected by personality disorder. And while I was doing that research, discovered all kinds of things about my own brain, myself, how I had formulated memories, how trauma took me through time, forward and backwards, getting stuck in these temporal sort of whirlpools. And I was writing a book at the same time. I was writing about mental illness, and I had pitched this book on Twitter. I had sent a tweet that basically said, please somebody let me write the mental illness book. And luckily some people thought that I could write the mental illness book. So I was doing that. And then as I was writing and I was learning about memory and I was working with my therapist to understand what my brain was doing and why it was behaving the way that it was, I learned so much about my own experience that by the time I got to the end of the draft of my book, I had to write the book again. I had got to the end and realized that, oh, this isn't all my fault. And I had realized there's a reason that this has happened. Science could predict this outcome for me, even though I feel like I'm in constant chaos. And that was such a healing process for me. There was a time early on in the book writing when my editor said to me something like, and I have to ask you a very hard question. And I said, oh, you're going to ask me if writing this book will make me kill myself. And I thought about that very seriously, whether that was a real risk that I was putting myself at by trying to delve into my past and pull out these strands of trauma that were going to make for good reading. And what actually happened was I could look at my experiences and what had happened in my life and the hurt that I had felt and the rage that I had encountered and all of these feelings that I had taken with me into adulthood, that I could look at with fresh perspective and forgiveness, and to recognize that what I had gone through wasn't me. It wasn't because of something that I did, and that I no longer had to carry around the guilt that I had felt about those experiences. And so by the time I got to the end of writing this book, I started again from the beginning. I was like, actually, it's not an angry book. It's not a burn book. I'm not going to fill this book with all of the people and things that I hate. Actually, what it is a love story to my therapist, to science, to the people that I am lucky enough to have in my life, and to myself. And that's the kind of book that it is. So I hope it brings you comfort, and I hope that it can become like a friend in your bookshelf. Thank you for reading it.